Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Ryan Keating, and I'm a moderator here at Mezipatra at the industry program. And I'm joined today by three very special guests. We have Timothy Hall, who is visiting the festival this year with his wonderful film Landlocked. And then we have Andrej Polak, Slovak queer actor. Welcome. And joining us from Zoom, we also have Lucia Kajankova, who is a screenwriter, rather, not screenwriter. Hi, Lucia. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Oh, perfect. Great. So, again, welcome. Today we're talking on the panel about quite a hot topic in the film industry, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. It's sometimes called gay face. Queer actors have often pulled the short straw throughout history when it comes to roles and overall representation. Quite often, queer characters in films are played by straight actors, and there is a lot of controversy around this. So maybe we could start off with just some general thoughts. What do you think on this situation, Timothy? Because in your film Landlocked, it sees a man take a journey with his transgender parent. So how important was it for you that this trans character had a trans actor?
Yeah, and myself and my writer, we're both, cisgender straight white males. So it's, we can do as best as we can on the page, writing it and trying to create a three-dimensional character. But it was incredibly important to find a trans actress who could play this and not only play it, but work with me in pre-production to go through the script, word by word, and just because I want to tell, a story and a journey for this character that feels authentic and real and not cliche, and collaborate with someone that can, breathe a, new dimension into it and an authenticity and a nuance. Because it's like, if everyone loves the film, but actually, transgender people see it and think it's, one-dimensional and, poor representation, then I think that'd be an ultimate failure. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was incredibly important to have someone to collaborate with to really just hopefully bring a deeper level of truth.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I just wanted to refer to an example from the news, which a lot of people here probably heard about, happened a couple of years ago with the actor Scarlett Johansson, who caused quite a lot of controversy when she was cast as trans man Dante Gill in the film Rub Tug. There was significant backlash towards her taking this role from the LGBTQ plus community, who believed that the part should go to a trans actor. Now, she defended herself by saying, and I quote, as an actor, I should be allowed to play any person or any tree, I don't know why she's tree, or any animal, because that is my job and the requirements of my job. So, Andrej, as an actor, what do you think about this remark? Do you think that an actor should have the freedom to play whomever they want?
I think that yes. I don't know if it's working. Maybe it's working.
I also don't know. Is mine on? Can you hear me okay? Yeah? Okay.
I was thinking about this so many times, and actually, I think yes.
I'm sorry, I think your mic is not working, really.
It is working. Maybe I should be closer.
Perfect.
Sorry. Now, Lucia. Hi, Lucia.
Ciao, ciao.
So I think yes, there should be this freedom to play all the characters what you want to play, but also in this time we talk about like especially like trans actors or trans people in the movies. I think okay, in this time it's changing. And it's okay, but if we talk like global, it's totally different in Czech Republic. If I can say about my own situation, or talk about my own situation, I just like I'm fighting about this. That I'm casted mostly as a gay actor, because like people from the movie business or producers and directors, they know me that I'm a gay. So that's my own situation, and yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Lucia, I'd be really curious to hear your opinion because I know that you were actually the director of programming at Mezipatra for many years, right?
Yes.
So what do you think on this topic?
I really think, firstly, I'm sorry, there are some people at the festival. Sorry. No, I'm the different film festivals, so I can't join in person. Firstly, I'm really glad that that is being debated now. Yeah, inclusivity in casting, diversity, both in front of the camera, behind the camera. I really like the title of of our debate. Who gets to tell the story? Yeah, on all the positions of making a film or a TV series. And one thing that I think is also important is to, and I really think it's a different layer. It's whether we are talking about identity in terms of gender, yeah, whether we have trans characters, whether we have non-binary characters, that I really think should be cast with actors and actresses whose gender is aligned with the character that they play. I think it's different when we are talking sexual orientation, which is a different layer. It's a different topic, a different way, and I'm really looking forward when we are discussing it. But I really think that these two should be, in terms of like who gets to play who, that they should be approached differently.
Okay, so basically, just to summarize, Lucia, so you're saying that a trans character or a non-binary character should be played by a trans actor or non-binary actor, but someone who, when it comes down to sexual orientation, whether they be gay or a lesbian, that you're saying that it would be okay for a straight actor to play one of these characters. Yeah,
that's like very general. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think there are examples. For example, a film that was last year in Cannes, where Naomi Merlan gets to play a trans man. We were discussing it also with the director, who we had as a guest at Februarfest like 2 months ago. And Naomi Merlan is a cis woman, cis actress. But in this case, the character that she's portraying, Benjamin, we get to see him also in pre-transition. That's one thing. And also he has a baby. So he kind of like detransitions, at least partially and physically, in order to become a father. And Mary Castille, the director, was talking about how she was looking for trans actors, but one of the reasons, and she discussed it with trans performers, with trans actors, and nobody really wanted to play it, partly because of this what phases of his transition Benjamin goes through in the film. Yeah, because it could be very triggering, dysphoria-wise. And what is interesting is that she actually cast some trans actors in non-trans roles in this very same film. Yeah. So I don't think it's like totally like hard rule. It depends on context too. But definitely I think we as directors should be primarily looking for trans actors for trans roles. Absolutely.
Yeah, I see. And do you guys have any opinions on this?
I'd agree absolutely, and also I wanted to say before, like the situation for like if we like do it like gay actors for gay roles and straight actors for straight roles. It's also what I don't like because like if it's just like that or in this hard like situation. Because also I want to act like straight characters, you know. So if we want to be like totally fair, but I think it's totally different situation about like trans actors, especially in this time. There is a lot of brilliant trans actors. So, but also we talk about like global, not in Czech Republic. That's totally different situation.
Yeah, and I cast a gay actor in my film as a straight white male with a family because it's like he can do anything, and it's like I don't want to just pigeonhole him to playing gay roles, but yeah, but I think it is just the lack of opportunity, it seems like, for trans actors, and then and the fact that my character was years past transitioning, and yeah, it's just I don't know, changing times and giving a voice to, and like I said, in the creative process, just having somebody too that's actually gone through this, I think, is just such a tremendous help.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. And I want to refer quickly just to another quote now. Out gay actor Chris New, who you might remember from the film Weekend. I'm sure a lot of people here have seen this film. I believe it was also in Mezipatra some years ago. He publicly said that he was actually quite picky with queer roles, and also doesn't mind who they necessarily go to depending on certain circumstances. So he was quoted as saying, any role where their character's sexuality is their defining characteristic, he would often turn down, which means that he actually didn't work very much and still does not work very much, or at least nowhere near as much as he would like to. And he feels seeing straight actors playing outside of their own sexuality, he said that I really don't mind at all. I just hope they are the best actor for the role. And I quietly wish that the role could be defined as something a little more than just gay. So, Andre, I want to put this question to you. When you said that you were asked to play a lot of these queer roles simply because you're gay yourself, how detailed or nuanced were these characters that you were playing? And would you say that, would you like more complex characters to play?
Yes. Sorry, again, the question. Maybe I didn't understand.
Yeah, sure. So the question is, how do you think that queer characters should be more interesting? Do you think they're rather one-dimensional at the moment, and they could do with being a little bit more nuanced? Like, would you like some interesting queer roles to play, some more interesting roles?
Yes. Yes. I did some projects where I supposed to actually play these gay characters in this very often way, like to make fun of kind of gay characters. And I made my own show, Olo show. It's a series, and I wanted to make it like extra. This is a special genre because it's like a parody and it's very, very sarcastic, and but it's years ago, and I was thinking that we making like a good fun of a gay character, especially is about like stylist and crazy gay stylist, and so yes, that was one thing I did for a long time, and then I did some other gay characters which were not. It was really regular, and yes, I would like to make some more characters which will be acting in a different way. If it's understandable, I don't know. I'm sorry about my English.
No, absolutely, no problem. Yeah, I think that that's kind of another problem, isn't it? Is that we don't have so many queer actors that have these opportunities, and then when they do get opportunities to play a queer character that they would like, a lot of them are usually the same, or they fit a certain stereotype in films. So
yes.
I think it would be nice if we had more roles like this. And Lucia, what do you think about the kind of the versatility of queer roles and what they are like at the moment?
I think especially when we're looking at Czech Republic, then we don't have that many queer characters that really would stand out. Yeah, and I think a big part of it is already in the who gets to write these roles. Yeah. So that's a big part of it. The TV series that we're showing at Mezipatra, which is queer. I really think that we did well with the queer characters not being defined only by them being queer. They're quite complex. While the sexuality plays a role in the coming to terms with their identity. And a big part of why I think we did well is that we had a very mixed writers' room that was composed for a big part with queer writers, and I am a queer director. So I think that's where you start.
Absolutely, thank you. And one thing that also makes it quite difficult is that it's also hard for queer actors to publicly come out and to bring their full selves to work because they will fear that it harms their career. And I think a lot of the time it does harm their career. Do you think that this will change in the future? And sorry, I know, Andre, I'm kind of picking on you at the moment, but you are an actor. So how, like, you are out. So how was this experience for you, if you don't mind talking a little bit about it?
Well, it's so many years ago, and when I had my coming out, I was 27, and I did not. I was mostly working in the theater, so I was not shooting so much, and so it was just. But maybe I was in a different situation because before I was not like openly. I was very like bisexual, or I was not like gay before, or I was not open to be like I didn't have this coming out like so. In my like people around me took me in a different way, and I think that some people didn't believe me that I'm gay for such a long time, especially from my community, like people from my theater and blah blah blah. And then I just realized that it's so hard when I started to shooting, because everybody was like, okay, but you're very good and blah blah blah. I like you so much, but you're gay. And I was like, why you just don't give me the opportunity to try it? Just cast me. Just take me for a casting, and I will show you that I can do other characters than just gay characters. And yes, I had a problem with this for years, and I felt that it's not fair. But also, I felt like maybe I didn't have this like good energy for like straight characters.
Yeah.
So I took it like I have to build it somehow.
And I suppose in a way, did you feel like you always had to sort of prove yourself more than, say, a straight actor would? You always had to go the extra mile, the extra audition, or?
Yes, and it was mostly in the theater. It was like always about these jokes, like that I'm gay, which I started like a few years ago talking to my colleagues, like, okay, because also my kind of humor, and maybe, I don't know, like so many people, we have like very open humor, so we can make fun of ourselves, and I do it all the time. But actually, a few years ago, I was just like, I'm tired of this. All the time, the same jokes, all the times, like this, you're gay, so you should be like funny gay, and you should have this like open energy. And it was also for some auditions and also for some work, like, and I was like, it's enough. I just don't want to always be like really open about all the jokes and this stuff.
Yeah, no, it's hard. I'm sorry you had to experience that. And I would like to ask Tim, actually, how do you feel in terms of, you know, bullying on set and queer actors' careers being harmed and things like that? How would you say that situation is in the US currently? Would you say that it's getting better after some movements over the last few years? Or I know it's a super broad question. I'm sorry.
I'm probably not the best person to speak to that, but I mean, feels like it's getting better. But that's, but I'm no perspective, you know, firsthand on that. But what do you think, Dustin?
It's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's better.
You know, bullying just in general, it's better in America.
Yeah.
It's just like when I was growing up, you know, you were definitely bullied, and now like I teach kids and say if you say mean things to LGBT community, then kids bully you.
Yeah.
For saying mean things. So it's a radical shift. Just all of America. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. And Lucia, in terms of the Czech Republic, I mean, Andrei already said that it's a completely different kind of situation here. And what do you think it would take for it to start getting better here for this kind of stuff? Or do you think it is getting better slowly?
I'm optimistic. I think it's getting better slowly. Yeah. I think there you can really see the generational shift that is actually happening. And I also see it because I study, but I also teach at FAMU, at the Czech Film School. And only in the 10 years since I studied and now when I teach, I really see that it's changing and the industry is changing and it's becoming more inclusive and more open because what I really think it's with this changing is that you actually get to be in the room because I haven't really experienced like straight pun intended, that, okay, we don't want you, we don't want to talk with you because you're queer, because you're a woman. But what actually happens is that you don't actually get invited to the table. Yeah.
I see.
Even if it's not really in your face, but, and I think this is changing, but it's changing slowly.
And what do you think we can do to make it, to speed up the process a little bit?
I'm thinking. It's a hard question.
No, it's okay. Oh, that's open to anyone, by the way.
Yeah, I think we just need to keep trying, saying like we are here, we're making this content, and it's not what sometimes actually happened. It's like, oh, you already had this. You in terms of like your community, you already had this gay film, or you had this this story was told, so like we can move on and tell all these like stories about white cis hetero males because that's the default. Like, fuck that, yeah. But you need to keep pushing.
I also wanted to say, like, a few months ago, they're starting some kind of like revolution on DAMU, Drama Academy of Performing Arts, where I was studying years ago. That the young students, they made this initiation, like how was really hard, especially for queer people or also girls on DAMU study acting, especially because of the old professors, which made always fun of girls and queer actors because of like fat girls or queer people, blah blah blah, and they're starting to tell the stories like about this their own experiences with this old professor, especially about of one guy, which is actually the director of National Theatre, and there were so many. They made like beautiful protests. It's on YouTube. And there was like they were reading these experiences, and there was after that was this big discussion about like and so many old professors of DAMU, they said like, but this is the regular process, like they should find something which is on the students the point, this how to say this I don't know how to say it in English, zranitelné místo, this is
vulnerable place,
and working on it, and they said that it's good for students that they have to learn during the study of acting on Damu how to work with this. And that was the discussion, which is like nonsense, because you can find other these points of the young students, and not the sexual orientation, or this like someone is like tall too much or fat too much. So it was nice because I think we have to change in these minds, especially of older people which are working in a film industry or theater. Like, this is not the problem which like you can't making feel bad students of acting just because the sexual orientation, but you have to find actually the real different problem.
Yeah. So you're saying that it's a lot of it could stem from the fact that in educational institutions we have people that are not open to these types of things, and there's all sorts of bullying going on. And is there anything else, do you think, we could do to raise awareness? And again, this question is to any of you, like outside of education, maybe in the streets, in regular schools, or do you think there's anything else that we could do? Or Lucia, maybe?
I'm thinking, but what I really think is what is the most thing we can do is to really tell our stories, and raise our voices. We are here, we are queer. Or in the content that we're doing, in the way we discuss it in public. I think that's pretty much the only way. And also for people who really have, let's say, a narrow kind of view, is only way is to really confront them that we really exist, where people we get to tell our stories, and you need to deal with that.
Now, there's often the argument that a lot of major studios and producers, especially in Hollywood, that there are not enough queer actors to fill roles. What do we think about that? Maybe, Tim, what do you think?
I mean, we made this movie for like $20 and a roll of duct tape, and I mean, I was able to find and it was looking for a trans actress who was anywhere from 55 to 75, who looks like they could have been a parent to Dustin. I mean, we had several good options. We're able to find. I mean, if me on my very humble means can find a lot of qualified people, like, yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of talent, a lot of people out there, and that sounds like a pretty poor excuse.
Okay.
I absolutely, if I may, I absolutely agree with that. And also, another thing is that I also see it in the Czech Republic, is that so you kind of like get a list of actors, and that's all, and many people are not looking beyond that, beyond the short list. And it's a pity because there's so much talent out there, not only in terms of queer performers, queer actors. When I was casting the teenage TV show, we were looking for it's an ensemble piece, so we are looking for many actors, and we totally did an open call. We called up all the acting schools, but not only in Prague, but we also did really a totally open casting. And what I also think is important is to, as we're talking about how we can change the narrative, how we can change the situation, is to already, for example, in this phase, to stress what we did. We are looking for authenticity. We are looking for diversity. Kind of like use the code words that we know what we're talking about. And so I think this is a part of it. And I found amazing young actors. For many of them, it was the screen debut. So just like look beyond the narrow box that you think that you have available.
That's great. And I like what you mentioned there, that a lot of it comes down to, casting calls and what you're asking for, and being specific and really being patient and waiting and Absolutely, I think that's really good advice. So I wanted to sort of play the devil's advocate now and take it from the other way. So let's say, hypothetically, that from now on, only queer actors could play queer characters, straight actors could play straight characters. Obviously, there are some advantages, definitely, but what could go wrong in this situation, do you think?
Sorry, I have to think of it.
No, it's okay. Or Lucia?
Okay. I think what is the problem with this when you put a question like that, and you know you're playing devil's advocate. The first thing that I see is that we see it as a binary. Yeah, it's straight, non-straight. It actually presumes that any character who is not specifically defined as queer is defaultly heterosexual. It doesn't have to be. Yeah. It's not like everybody's heterosexual until proven otherwise. Yeah. Which that goes both for characters but also for actors. And another thing is that it also does leave space for some, say, evolution of identity in terms of both the characters and also in terms of actors. Yeah. What we were doing is, and this is Gen Z, yeah, both my characters and my actors. And what I really find beautiful is that many people are already quite kind of like beyond this binary, yeah. Straight gay is like yeah, we are figuring it out. Yeah. So that's another thing. And I think also what is, of course, and this is on the level of something that Andre was already talking about, is we are outing people if we take it. It's like, okay, only straight people can play straight characters, only queer people can play queer characters. It's really pushing, especially the performance, into coming out, which I really don't think we should be doing.
And like in our film, Dustin playing a straight character who probably the character has a lot more in common, like probably with my life, but him coming from, having a different life than mine, it's sort of like us being here in Prague, like everything is striking to us. Might be a building, you walk by and don't even look at it anymore, but we're like, oh my God, where he might pick up and see like, hey, looking at your life as a guy with a young child and wife or what, like he sees and has perceptions that I'm totally missing, if that makes any sense. And just, yeah.
When I think about this, like I always think about, because I'm from Slovakia, so it's totally different situation than in Czech Republic also. And I also thinking so many times about like my colleagues in Slovakia, because I know so many gay actors which are now openly gay. And I can't imagine the situation when all of them will be openly gay. They will have no jobs in Slovakia, like absolutely. So it's also different than here because like to be open gay in Czech Republic is not that hard than in Slovakia. So I can't imagine the situation in this region in the middle of Europe, like in this time. Of course, I years ago I was like, hey guys, let's do something, be open. Like we know that, like we know we are gay, so let's start to do it. And I have been on some Slovak festivals, and I was drunk, and I was with these guys, and I was like, why you just not open? Like open, like be open, like let's make coming out. And after years, I realized like, okay, and some people told me like, oh my God, for you it's so easy because you're in Prague, and it's different. And I realized that yes, it is. I'm not there, especially. I don't want to talk about Slovakia now, but I just like if in this like hypothetical situation, it's in some countries, in some regions, it's still like really complicated.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Hopefully, it will get better. Lucia, back to your point about sort of talking about the future as being very much non-binary, which I thought was really interesting. And there was a film also a couple of years ago, Boy Erased, with Lucas Hedges, and he gave quite an interesting quote on this film. And when people asked him, you know, do you think it's okay that you were playing a young gay man? And he said, I recognize myself as existing on the queer spectrum. I'm not totally straight, but I'm also not gay, nor am I bisexual, but I'm somewhere along this spectrum. And he basically said that, you know, I feel that a lot of young Hollywood is kind of like sexuality is holding fewer actors back in these younger generations. Their sexuality is not affecting them as much because they're much more open about it, and they don't know. They're not labeling themselves as gay, straight, or bisexual, or trans, or anything. And he said they're here, they're queer, or at least wearing gender-fluid fashion on the red carpet. And hopefully the world is finally getting used to it. So I think it was interesting, but especially this gender fluid fashion, because recently, and I know it's slightly off topic, but I know that Harry Styles, for example, wears a lot of very gender fluid fashion, and some people love this and say that he's you know, really representing the community and pushing boundaries, and other people are saying no, it's not good because he is a straight heterosexual man, like who is doing this so he can get away with doing this, whereas, you know, some queer people couldn't get away with this. So do you have any thoughts on this? That's a little bit too specific. I also, to be fair, I also like him, but
yeah. I'm a big fan of what Harry Styles is doing with the, as I said, with the boundary pushing, with only opening up the, as I said, like I'm myself, I'm not a big fan of the binary, yeah, that it's that we have this straight world and very usually also defined like straight or gay, yeah, and pushing people into boxes. Yeah, I think it's queering the narrative, queering the binaries, like playing with it. I think it's great, and I don't also think that we see into Harry Styles' heart and mind how what is actually his identity, or how he can actually expand what it might mean to be straight male, yeah, and he's pushing a lot of binary, narrow-minded people, and he's driving them up the wall. So, like, go Harry, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I thought we would give some time to our audience if anyone had any questions or comments on anything that we'd spoken about so far.
Yes. Since I'm from working for LTV, it's an LGBT TV channel. We're operating in 12 countries and we're acquiring a lot of content. And recently there was a series made, Veneno, in Spain. It's about a transgender person who lived in Spain and is played by fully trans actors. But I don't think it's necessary, because the actors are the last in chain. The whole industry has to become diverse, because how can a straight male director choose then the right gay person for the role? So, because that's also a different point of view. So I think the whole industry has to change with diversity in color, religion, gender, or sexuality in order to come to a finished product. That from the whole chain of the business has to change, because it's still a white, main dominant business where we're working in. So it has to come from all levels. Maybe a trans person can maybe better decide who's the right trans person for the role, because is that trans person you're casting then the right one for the job, who's representing all other trans persons? I don't believe in that. So I think it has to come from the industry as a whole to make that change, and everyone can play a certain role. And for example, also like if you be cast for an LGBT or a gay person, it has to be the gay best friend in a funny role. It doesn't start with the actor, it does start with the person who's writing the script. So that's where the change has to come from as well, and not necessarily from an actor who's been cast. If you're being cast for a funny gay, you go to it or not. And if you do an audition, you do an audition without telling that you're gay. You don't have to tell them. So this is only a small layer on a certain level in the industry where it counts, because if starting filmmakers are going to do audition, you don't have to tell you're gay. If you're the right one for the job, you're portraying that well, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight or bi or whatever. So I think it has to be a little bit more in a wider perspective of the whole industry.
Yeah. Any comments? I definitely agree with you in the sense that it has to start with the writers as well. I think they have a big responsibility. These people behind the camera, very much so. Yeah. Lucia, I'm not even sure if you heard that actually. Did you?
Partially.
Partially, yeah. And do you have any thoughts?
I would just again subscribe to it that it really, I think, really starts with people behind the cameras. It started with the writing, but started with the decision makers. And we can really should be thinking like, okay, how can we do better? And it can be something that are details, for example. But as I mentioned, when I was casting and I was doing like a wide open call, I don't have any non-binary characters. I have really like clearly defined. Okay, these are like the guys' roles and the girls' roles in the show. But to all the people who wrote in, okay, we want more info, and I asked them to do like a video audition because we're casting during lockdown for the first round, and I told to my production that send to all the people, don't make an assumption based on name, yeah, check languages of gender, send to all of them both the guys roles and the girls roles, and have the potential actors pick what they want to read, what they want to prepare, yeah. Like stuff like this, it can seem like details, but like all days we should be thinking inclusivity, open minds, and not make presumptions.
Yeah, absolutely. And these things you're listing, if you think about it, they really are very simple things that you can do. And I think a lot of filmmakers and people in the industry are just not thinking about these small steps that they can take. So I think that's a really good point. Are there any other comments?
Or questions? Yes.
Yes, my name is Jen. I'm coming from Copenhagen, the film festival, and you can say we are on the receiving end of the product that's coming out from the filmmakers. And we did debate a lot on this topic internally, and it's not an easy topic always. There are many gray zones. For example, when we debate what films we want to take, what does it mean if we want to have representation which is right, let's say trans characters being played by trans people, then we are limited to a very, very small amount of films that we actually can bring, and then we need to make up with ourselves, do we really want to reduce the representation to almost nothing, or whether we actually want to take another films in which are not played by the trans people. So we had this discussion with many of them, and ultimately we decided a few years back to actually take a stand and to say that we are not accepting films being played by straight people or non-trans people for trans roles. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was a radical decision. It really did attract a lot of media attention in Denmark. and not a good media attention, I should say. But ultimately, we still stand with the same boycott that we've decided, and I think we do see the benefit of doing this, and basically just trying as a festival to promote the films that we want to see being made in a way that we want to see the stories being told, and this is our stand. And I think ultimately we started one place when we started our debate, and now we see the benefit of doing this. It's a very small thing because we as a festival, we are not one of the major festivals anyway, but as much as we can do, we want to do for our audience, to bring them the stories that we think they are more realistically represented.
I understand. And you actually reminded me of a film from, I'm talking about old films from a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago was just wild, apparently. But there was this film, Girl, which I'm sure you remember, where the actor was not trans and was cast, and there was a lot of controversy around that film. But then on the other side, there was some people that very much supported the film and the story as well, because the writer or the co-writer was the girl that the film was about, the trans girl. So do you think that there's a gray area here? Like, would you accept a film like this, for example, if there was a trans writer involved that had approved that casting?
Yeah, so we decided not to take that film, but for me also there are gray areas even within our stand, because you can have situations where you have very young actors playing who maybe have not decided actually, or that haven't formed their identity. Then how do you know? Maybe in 5 years their identity is more formed and it would be a queer identity. You don't know, but it's a very good film and it's very good acted, so to say. So in many ways, I would have loved to see him in the festival, but we made the choice and we wanted to stick with the choice, and therefore we decided not to. Also, the film got, I think, the general distribution, so we didn't feel that sorry because anyway the audience.
Sure, and, yeah, and a lot of people. Are there any comments? Or Lucia, you're off somewhere.
No, I was freezing to death.
No, fair enough.
But I'm here with you. I just didn't really hear from the voice from the audience.
Yeah, I see. So basically we have guests here from the Denmark Queer Film Festival who are saying that they actually do not take films anymore where there is a trans character that is not played by a trans actor. And I was talking about a little while ago, there was this film Girl, which I'm sure you remember, where the actor was not trans, playing a trans dancer, ballet dancer, but the writer, in fact, and who the story was about, was trans, and they were also involved in making the decision of casting. And we were talking a little bit about this gray area, and they didn't end up accepting the film. And do you have any comments?
I think, as I mentioned, the French film that I was talking about, Good Man, where a trans character is played by a cis actress. I think it really depends on the context. For me, in case of Good Man, it was totally fine with me. Also on this level, Girl, I think for me that film is very problematic. It's something I wouldn't program. Not solely on the casting, but based on the story that it tells and the way it tells it. I had a huge problem with that. But I really don't think it's. I understand the approach. That okay, we are not taking these films, and I respect it. I personally tend to look at it that it's really case by case.
Yeah. I think if anything, we can conclude from this whole discussion that it really is a thing that's case by case, right? It's so nuanced. It's definitely not black and white. It's not straight and gay. There's just so much involved in a topic like this. Are there any other comments from our lovely audience? Yes.
Yeah, I am Etta. I'm here with like the Kreisreich, which is like a festival in the south of Germany. So I'm also familiar with these.
Let me just bring you them order. Should I just? Yeah.
Okay. So I'm also familiar with these discussions on programming decisions and trying to look at it in a nuanced way. And I think one of the things that we keep coming back to is also that like gender and sexuality might not be the only dimensions that are part of like this character we might be looking at, but it could it could be a character that has like multiple marginalized identities, and then we also try to like it could be that the character is also experiencing like ableism or racism, and then it could be a decision that like we think it's like this topic and this casting decision in this other area sounded really well, and then we could also be a bit, like the casting decision in the end, maybe it actually wasn't possible in also this particular region of the world to find an actor that was really representing like having all of these multiple identities that are marginalized within themselves. So it's also something to keep in mind.
Absolutely. Any comments? Okay, well, are there any other comments? Maybe a final comment or a question from anyone? No? Okay. Well, I want to thank our very special guests for coming. Thank you so much to Tim Hall, Andrej Palák, and Lucia Kavanková. It's been wonderful having you here. And Lucia, thank you so much for joining us in this sense. I know it's not always the best, but we're kind of used to it now, I guess, because of COVID, but it's still kind of hard. So thank you so much for your patience and all the technical details as well. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, and thank you very much for having me.
No problem. Thank you so much, everyone.